Hannibal, the horror. The forgotten village, in the heart of a landscape forgotten by time, lies a village shrouded in an eternal dusk. This forsaken hamlet, once brimming with life, now whispers tales of desolation and dread. The houses, decrepit and abandoned, line the streets like tombstones, marking the absence of laughter and warmth that once filled them. An oppressive fog clings to the ground, as if trying to smother the remaining traces of life. The moon, hanging low and ominously full, casts an ethereal glow over the scene, its light seeming to mourn the loss of days gone by. The air is thick with the scent of decay, and the eerie silence is broken only by the creaking of old wood and the distant hooting of an owl. As the scene unfolds, a sense of foreboding grows, hinting at the ancient evil that lurks in the shadows, waiting, watching. This village, lost in time, serves as the gateway to a tale of horror, where the veil between the living and the dead is perilously thin. The arrival of Hannibal, from the dense, whispering forest that borders the village, a figure emerges, Hannibal. Enshrouded in a cloak of darkness, he moves with a purpose that chills the very air. His presence is an omen, a harbinger of the unspeakable horrors that are to unfold. As he steps into the open, the moonlight seems to recoil, as if afraid to illuminate this entity of malevolence. His eyes, the only feature visible beneath the hood, burn with an intensity that speaks of a tormented past and a sinister future. The ground beneath his feet seems to wither, as though nature itself is revolting against his very existence. His arrival marks the beginning of a nightmare that will unravel the fabric of reality in this cursed village. Each step he takes resonates with the echoes of 1,000 screams, a testament to the suffering that precedes and follows him. Hannibal's journey to this place is no accident. It is a calculated move in a game of terror that he orchestrates with diabolical precision. His silhouette, a specter of doom, casts a shadow that threatens to engulf the village in an abyss of darkness. The first victim, in the dead of night, within the confines of a dimly lit room in the village, an unsuspecting villager finds themselves enveloped in an atmosphere of mounting terror. The walls, once familiar and comforting, now seem to close in, imbued with an ominous presence. The shadows in the corners of the room begin to twist and writhe, as if alive, forming grotesque shapes that dance macabrely in the flickering candlelight. A chilling breeze whispers through the cracks in the window, carrying with it the faint echoes of distant, tortured screams. It is in this setting of creeping dread that Hannibal makes his sinister presence known. Though unseen, his malevolence fills the room like a suffocating fog. The villager, frozen in fear, can sense the approach of their doom, an inevitable fate orchestrated by Hannibal's unseen hand. The air thickens with a palpable sense of impending horror, as the villagers' breaths become ragged gasps of terror. In this moment, the boundary between the real and the surreal blurs, and the room becomes a stage for a nightmare from which there is no awakening. Hannibal, the master of this horror, revels in the fear he induces, his influence a dark tide that washes over his victim, leaving nothing but despair in its wake. The whispering woods, the forest that borders the village, a place of natural beauty by day, transforms under the cloak of night into a realm of whispering terrors. The trees, gnarled and ancient, stand like silent sentinels, their branches reaching towards the starless sky as if in supplication to some unseen force. The wind that meanders through the underbrush carries with it voices, murmurs of the long departed, their words unintelligible but their tones laden with sorrow and pain. The very ground seems to shift and move, roots and vines writhing underfoot, leading travelers astray into an ever-deepening labyrinth of despair. This forest, now a domain of darkness, conceals within its depths secrets of a sinister nature, guarded zealously by the spirits that haunt its glades. As the moonlight struggles to pierce the dense canopy, fleeting glimpses of twisted, spectral figures can be seen moving between the trees. They are the lost souls, ensnared by Hannibal's malevolent will, forever condemned to wander this liminal space between life and death. The boundary between the physical world and the realm of spirits blurs here, creating a tapestry of supernatural horror. Each rustling leaf, each creaking branch, becomes a sinister whisper, a forewarning of the unspeakable evils that lie in wait, eager to ensnare the unwary traveler in their ghostly embrace. The unearthly ritual, in a secluded clearing, hidden from the prying eyes of the world, a scene of otherworldly horror unfolds under the watchful gaze of the full moon. A group of hooded figures, their faces obscured by the shadows of their cloaks, gather around a bizarre symbol etched upon the earth. The symbol, a complex array of lines and circles, pulses with an eerie, unnatural light, casting a sickly glow on the assembled congregation. They chant in a language that is ancient and forgotten, their voices rising and falling in a hypnotic rhythm that seems to resonate with the very soul of the earth. The air itself vibrates with dark energy, charged with the power of forbidden rituals and unspeakable pacts. At the center of this macabre tableau stands Hannibal, his figure dominating the scene. His hands are raised, orchestrating the ritual with sinister precision. The fabric of reality seems to warp and twist around him, as if his mere presence is an affront to the natural order of the universe. The clearing becomes a nexus of eldritch energies, a focal point for forces that defy understanding. The ritual, a blasphemous ceremony, reaches its crescendo, tearing a rift in the veil that separates the world of the living from the realms of darkness. Through this aperture, entities of pure malevolence gaze hungrily at the world, their intentions as inscrutable as they are terrifying. This ritual is but a step in Hannibal's grand design, a design that weaves a tapestry of horror and madness, threatening to engulf not just the village, but the very essence of reality itself. The haunting melody, in the heart of the village lies an old, forsaken church, its once hallowed walls now succumbing to the ravages of time and neglect. The stained glass windows, fractured and faded, barely filter the moonlight, casting fragmented rainbows across the dust-laden pews. Within this desolate sanctuary, a phantom figure sits at the ancient organ, its keys worn and its pipes corroded. Yet, as the ghostly fingers dance across the keys, a haunting melody fills the air, echoing through the empty aisles and reverberating in the soul of the listener. This melody, a symphony of sorrow and despair, seems to tell a story of lost loves, of dreams unfulfilled, and of a descent into madness. It is a song that resonates with the very spirit of the village, a lament for what once was and what can never be again. The notes, as they rise and fall, weave a spell of melancholy, entrancing any who hear it. This spectral musician, an instrument of Hannibal's will, plays not just a melody of notes, but a symphony of fear, each chord a harbinger of the horrors to come. The church, a relic of a more innocent time, now serves as a stage for this macabre performance, a performance that is but a prelude to the unspeakable events that Hannibal has orchestrated. As the melody permeates the village, it seems to carry with it a message, a warning that the veil between life and death is thinning, and that the time of reckoning is at hand. The vanishing child, near the village's heart, stands an ancient well, its stones worn smooth by the hands of countless generations. It is here that a child, innocent and unburdened by the sorrows of the world, plays in blissful ignorance. The child's laughter rings through the air, a fleeting reminder of joy in this otherwise forsaken place. But in an instant, the scene changes. The air shivers with a cold, unseen presence. The child pauses, a look of confusion and fear dawning on their face as they sense something amiss. Then, without warning, they vanish, as if swallowed by the very earth. The well, now a silent witness to this impossible event, reflects a distorted image of the world, as if reality itself has been twisted and bent out of shape. This vanishing is no mere trick of the light or illusion, it is a manifestation of Hannibal's malevolent power, a display of his ability to manipulate the fabric of existence. The child, now lost to a realm beyond understanding, becomes another chapter in the village's tale of horror, a tale that grows ever darker with each passing moment. The well, once a source of life, now stands as a portal to the unknown, a gateway to a place where the rules of the natural world no longer apply. It is a harbinger of the chaos that Hannibal seeks to unleash, a chaos that threatens to consume not just the physical world, but the very souls of those who dwell within it. The shadowed pursuit, as night envelops the village, a frantic pursuit unfolds through the labyrinthine streets. The sounds of hurried footsteps echo off the walls of the narrow alleys, a desperate rhythm in the otherwise silent night. The pursued, a villager, runs with a terror that speaks of an instinctual understanding of the fate that awaits them should they falter. The shadows themselves seem to come alive, stretching and twisting into sinister shapes that reach out for the fleeing figure. These shadows, imbued with a life of their own, are the extensions of Hannibal's dark will, his agents in a game of cat and mouse where the stakes are nothing less than the soul itself. The villagers' breath comes in ragged gasps, their heart pounding in their chest as they navigate the maze-like streets, each turn leading them deeper into despair. The very air seems thick with menace, as if the night itself is conspiring against the lone runner. This chase is not merely a physical one. It is a pursuit of the mind and spirit, a test of wills where Hannibal's omnipresent influence seeks to crush any hope of escape. The village, once a haven of safety, has become a nightmarish trap, its every corner and shadow a potential harbinger of doom. As the chase continues, it becomes clear that this is but another of Hannibal's cruel games, a demonstration of his power to bend reality and human will to his dark desires. The forgotten crypt beneath the village, hidden from the eyes of its inhabitants, lies a crypt, ancient and forgotten. Its entrance, long sealed and overgrown, now stands open, as if inviting the unwary to uncover its secrets. The air within is stale and heavy with the weight of centuries, and the faint, eerie light that filters through the cracks in the stone ceiling casts ghostly shadows on the walls. These walls, lined with niches that once held the remains of the long dead, are inscribed with cryptic symbols and runes, their meanings lost to time. The atmosphere is charged with a palpable sense of unease, a feeling that this place is not merely a tomb, but a gateway to something far more ancient and malevolent. It is here, in this sanctum of the dead, that Hannibal seeks to unearth the forbidden knowledge and power buried with the bones of the past. The crypt, with its air of desecration, becomes a focal point for his search, a search that delves not just into the physical realm, but into the realms of dark magic and forbidden lore. The symbols on the walls seem to pulse with an unnatural energy, as if responding to Hannibal's presence, their glow a testament to the dark forces at his command. This crypt, a relic of a time when the line between the living and the dead was blurred, now serves as a bridge that Hannibal intends to cross in his quest for dominion over the seen and unseen worlds. As he delves deeper into the mysteries of the crypt, the air grows colder and the shadows longer, as if the very essence of the place is reacting to the intrusion of a power that threatens to unleash horrors long contained. The transformation in the village, under the malevolent gaze of the full moon, a transformation of unspeakable horror takes place. A villager, once a familiar face among the community, now finds themselves subject to a grotesque metamorphosis. Their body convulses and contorts in ways that defy the natural laws of anatomy, each movement accompanied by the sickening sound of cracking bones and tearing flesh. Skin stretches and warps, taking on a pallor that speaks of death and decay. Their screams, a symphony of agony and terror, fill the night air, a chilling reminder of the fate that Hannibal can inflict upon those who cross his path. This transformation is not merely physical, it is a corruption of the very essence of the victim's being, a stripping away of humanity to reveal something otherworldly and monstrous. The creature that emerges from this horrific process is a pawn in Hannibal's game, a manifestation of his ability to reshape reality according to his twisted whims. The transformation is a spectacle of terror, a display of Hannibal's power to bend the will and flesh of those he chooses. The villagers, witnesses to this abomination, feel a terror that chills their souls, a terror born of the realization that their world is no longer their own, but a playground for a being whose appetite for horror knows no bounds. This event, a turning point in the unfolding nightmare, signals the escalation of Hannibal's plans that promise to plunge the village into an abyss of darkness and despair from which there is no return. The gathering storm, above the village, the sky churns with a brewing storm, the likes of which have not been seen for generations. Dark clouds gather with unnatural speed, coalescing into a swirling mass that blots out the stars. The air is charged with electricity, the tension palpable as if the very heavens are bracing for an impending cataclysm. Lightning forks across the sky, illuminating twisted faces within the clouds, grotesque visages that leer down at the village with malevolent intent. Each thunderclap is a roar of unseen entities, a chorus of the damned that reverberates through the bones of the earth. This is no ordinary storm. It is a manifestation of Hannibal's dark power, a physical representation of the chaos he seeks to unleash upon the world. The villagers, looking up at the sky with a mix of awe and terror, understand that this storm is but a prelude to something far more sinister. The erratic patterns of the clouds seem to spell out ancient, forbidden runes, a celestial script that foretells a descent into madness and despair. As the first drops of rain begin to fall, they bring with them a sense of foreboding, a whisper of the horror that is to come. This storm, a harbinger of doom, serves as a backdrop to the unfolding nightmare, a reminder that the forces Hannibal has awakened are not bound by the laws of nature, but are creatures of a darker, more primal realm. The infernal feast, in the village square, under the watchful eye of the storm-ridden sky, a scene of macabre celebration unfolds. Tables are laid out with a feast, but the delicacies on display are far from ordinary. The food, if it can be called that, is composed of unrecognizable and inhuman morsels, arranged in a manner that suggests a grotesque parody of a banquet. The villagers, their expressions vacant and trance-like, partake in this infernal feast, consuming the offerings with a mechanical hunger. Their eyes, glazed and unfocused, betray no sign of the horror of their actions, as if their very will has been usurped. This feast is Hannibal's design, a twisted display of his control over the minds and bodies of the villagers. The air is filled with a cacophony of sounds, the clinking of cutlery, the murmur of voices, and the occasional, unsettling crunch of something too brittle to be considered food. The square, once a place of communal gathering and joy, has been transformed into a tableau of horror, a place where the boundaries between the civilized and the barbaric are obliterated. This banquet is more than a meal. It is a ritual, a symbolic act that marks the complete subjugation of the village to Hannibal's will. As the feast progresses, the air seems to thicken, the atmosphere heavy with an unspoken dread, a collective anticipation of the unspeakable act that this macabre celebration heralds. The phantom procession, through the shadow-laden streets of the village, a procession moves with eerie synchronicity. The participants, ghostly figures shrouded in tattered cloaks, march in unison, their faces obscured, their eyes hollow pits of despair. They move silently, save for the soft shuffle of their feet against the cobblestones. This procession, led by Hannibal, is a parade of the lost, souls who have been stripped of their essence, reduced to mere phantoms of their former selves. The procession winds its way through the village, its path seemingly random, yet charged with a purpose known only to Hannibal. The onlookers, hidden behind shuttered windows, watch with a mix of fear and fascination, unable to tear their eyes away from this spectral march. The air around the procession seems to shimmer, as if the very fabric of reality is warping in their wake. This march is more than a mere movement of bodies. It is a ritualistic dance, a performance that weaves a spell of despair and desolation over the village. The destination of this ghostly parade is unknown, but the sense of foreboding it evokes suggests that it leads to a place of darkness and horror, a place where the boundary between life and death is erased, and where the true extent of Hannibal's power will be revealed. The unseen horror, within the confines of a modest village home, a scene of unimaginable terror unfolds. The room, once a haven of safety and comfort, is now the stage for a manifestation of unspeakable horror. Furniture levitates, as if gripped by invisible hands, and the walls appear to bleed, their crimson tears a silent testament to the unseen atrocity occurring within. The air is thick with the sound of disembodied screams, a chorus of agony that seems to emanate from the very ether. This chaos, orchestrated by no visible entity, is a display of Hannibal's mastery over the unseen forces of the world. The room becomes a vortex of paranormal activity, a place where the laws of physics are suspended, and where the veil between the natural and the supernatural is torn asunder. The terror inflicted is not just physical, but psychological, a relentless assault on the senses and the mind. This unseen horror, a manifestation of Hannibal's malevolent intent, is a weapon of fear, designed to break the will of those who experience it. The chaos escalates, each new horror building upon the last, creating a crescendo of fear that threatens to overwhelm the very fabric of reality. This event, a showcase of Hannibal's power, serves as a grim reminder that the horrors he can unleash are not bound by the constraints of the physical world, but are creatures of a darker, more primal nature. The final confrontation, in the climax of this nightmarish saga, the village square becomes the arena for the final confrontation. Hannibal, at the center of the turmoil, reveals his true form, a being of unimaginable darkness and malice. His appearance is a grotesque amalgamation of the horrors he has wrought, a physical embodiment of fear and despair. The villagers, armed with a desperate courage born of necessity, gather to face this ultimate evil. The air crackles with tension, the impending battle a culmination of the terror that has engulfed their lives. This confrontation is more than a physical fight. It is a struggle for the soul of the village, a battle against an entity that embodies the darkest aspects of existence. Hannibal, in his true form, is a force of nature, a being whose power seems to warp the very air around him. The villagers, though outmatched, stand resolute, driven by a determination to reclaim their lives from the darkness. The clash is epic, a cacophony of screams, clashes, and the unleashing of eldritch energies. As the battle unfolds, the very fabric of the village seems to shudder under the strain of the conflict, as if the outcome of this fight holds the key not only to their survival but to the very balance of the natural and supernatural worlds. This final confrontation, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming darkness, is the decisive moment in the struggle against Hannibal's reign of terror. For more videos like these, please like, share and subscribe, and please press the bell icon.